Okay, it says I am live. Let me see what else is popping up here. Okay, I guess I'm live. Okay, coughing. I have COPD. I have blood clot in my lungs. All that fun stuff. Okay, the title to this video: America in Distress. The reason I say that, and the reason why my flag is upside down, is when America is in distress. Right now, we are in distress. Why do I say that? Well, for the first time in over 260 years, we have a United States president that has been convicted on 34 felony charges. His date that they are going to read his sentence to him is going to be July 11th, 3 days before the Republican nomination, so to speak. And days away from his debate with Bozo Biden. Now, this is definitely one of the biggest corrupt trials in the history of the United States. They had brought Trump on these charges that they had no right to do. If anyone was to put such charges against Donald Trump, it should have been our federal government that put these charges against them. Besides, these charges are beyond the statutes of limitations. It's been well over 7 years, so these charges should not have been brought against Donald Trump. Besides that, the state of New York has no right to bring these charges against Donald Trump or to put a gag order on Donald Trump. That is against his First Amendment right. Also, to let the jurors pick what charges, when, where, how many they want to charge. How many jurors? It could have been two jurors that wanted to convict him on all 34 charges, and the judge was okay with that. Instead of it being where every individual juror, beyond a reasonable doubt, thought that Donald Trump was guilty or not guilty. This judge ran a kangaroo court system. Everybody else could go ahead and say what they wanted to say, but Donald Trump, oh, he had a gag order on him. He couldn't say a word. Now, what's to come out of this? Well, of course, Donald Trump's legal team is filing appeals immediately. If they haven't done it already, it will be done tomorrow morning. We have this all stemming because Joe Biden doesn't have a leg to stand on, so to speak, if he can even stand. this is something that Biden and his Democratic administration wants to control. They want the presidency. They want to stay in power so they can continue to uh, so they can continue to dictate what is right and wrong. So they can control us instead of us controlling them. I would suggest you contact every single politician throughout the United States Congress and complain. I'm not saying to threaten their lives because then you're going to have the FBI or the CIA knocking at your door. But I would let them know that because of this, you're going to vote them out of office. Our Republican Party had more than enough chance to step in and intervene in this. Did they do it? No, they didn't. Instead, they were in the courtroom, some of them, and watched how the proceedings went in this courtroom. This was a illegal judge. I will call him an illegal judge because this whole trial was fixed. They all were after Donald Trump to put a conviction in place to try and stop him from running for president of the United States. Joe Biden has spoken with these people at the White House and other places to try to convict Donald Trump. You got to remember, Joe Biden is a member of the World Economic Forum. He had told them that he wants to be one of the leaders of the World Economic Forum. And that was live on TV that he stated such. He wants to be involved in a one world government. He wants to be a dictator here in the United States of America. We know he doesn't have the brains to even say a proper sentence, let alone he is destroying our country from the inside out. And I'm going to give you a few examples here right now. And like I say, Donald Trump's legal team, is going to be appealing this. It'll probably be tomorrow morning where they set their appeals in motion to fight this conviction. Okay. To start out, our military bases have been compromised. There have been over 13 military bases where there have been Jordanian illegal immigrants, as well as Chinese illegal immigrants going into our military bases. Say they're delivering food for DoorDash and such just to get on the military bases. A couple of them have been caught taking pictures or being in some of the buildings on the military bases to get whatever information they can and give them to their superiors in these other countries. These are terrorists, and most of them are all illegal aliens. I call them illegal aliens because they did cross our border illegally. I have nothing against at all immigrants coming into our country, as long as they come into our country and are properly vetted into our country. You have illegal aliens that are crossing into our country on the Arizona and California borders right now, just walking right into our country, bringing weapons with them, machine guns, AR 15s, as well as drugs that they're bringing into America. The latest estimate on these illegal immigrants is 20 to 40 million illegal immigrants. They say it is definitely 20 million, but they're also estimating another 20 million of gotaways and those who have come into this country other ways, like good old Joe Biden bringing in these people on planes from Palestine, Jordanians, ISIS, Guatemalans, all these different illegal terrorists he's allowing in this country. Now, there have been a few people that have put videos up on YouTube showing that they have picked up passports and driver's licenses and all these different identifications from all these illegal immigrants that are streaming into our country. These people are keeping these IDs to give them to the proper authorities, possibly if and when Trump becomes president of the United States, so that Trump can start his deportation of these illegal immigrants. America is also in distress because even in Arizona at this time, there are Mexican drug cartels in Arizona that are driving around with military style vehicles with belt fed machine guns on the vehicles. And they're just driving and parading down the streets in Arizona in broad daylight. Why aren't these people being taken into custody? Is what I'd like to know. Maybe you would too. Like I say, this Democratic administration is destroying America from within. You better be armed up. And I suggest it all starts tonight. I am locked and loaded. I have my freedom sticks ready and my freedom seeds locked and loaded. Since this conviction of Donald Trump, everything is about to hit the fan. In other words, we're in a SHTF situation right now. This is another reason I have our American flag upside down, because America is in distress. What else do I have for you people to know a little bit about? Well, these illegal immigrants are bringing in illegal weapons, machine guns, AR 15s, uh, uh, grenade launchers, all these things. Why would they need this kind of military artillery coming into our country if they're not planning on using it against the American people? I've also heard through the grapevine that our Democratic administration is bringing these people into the United States because they're going to start their own little so called militia or make them UN military, because those people do not like American citizens to begin with. So, what's a good way to start terrorism in America? Make these people of military age, which they are, dress them in military gear, which they are ready to, and be backed by our government. I don't know why my chat was just disconnected. Anyway, next on my agenda, like I say, our government's controlling these illegal immigrants so they can um, fight against us American citizens. Right now, we have stores that are closing, big box stores. We have restaurants that are closing. Some of the stores are like Rite Aid, Dollar Tree, Walgreens, Family Dollar. You have restaurants that are closing, like Burger King and McDonald's and different various popular restaurants. They're closing down. They cannot afford it. And besides, you're going to go to McDonald's for a Big Mac and pay $18 for a Big Mac? I'd rather go ahead and buy my own food, take it home, and cook it up and eat it, and I'd get a lot more for a lot cheaper. Right? You also have Walgreens that are closing, CVS's that are closing, a lot of pharmacies and stuff. You have people that aren't able to get insulin that they need. Me, I had to wait and contact my doctor's office to get a different medication changed over to a different strength, because the pharmacies didn't have my specific medication strength. So I had to have my doctors call in a different prescription so that I could get a different strength of that medication in order, because they had that in stock. What else we got here? Um, we have a lot of major tractor trailer companies that deliver all supplies to the box stores and grocery stores and all this stuff that are also going out of business. One of those major drug companies is JB Hunt, and other big trucking companies. We've seen Yellow Freight that's been around ever since I could ever remember. I myself had drove tractor trailer over the road for over 20 years, and it's sad to see that all these big companies are now going out of business. They can't afford diesel fuel and the prices of permits. I hate to see what's happening here. Excuse me. Okay, the next thing I get into are food problems. People, be aware of what's going on, because our food production in this country is also being destroyed. All these farms are being shut down, cattle being slaughtered, chickens being culled and killed like crazy because of this so-called bird flu. Now every animal in the world's got bird flu all of a sudden. I've even had vegetable plants growing, and I live in Florida. I could grow vegetables all year round. I've had vegetable plants that died out before just when they started flowering and everything, and they died. All these chemtrails in the sky, all this aluminum that they're spraying in the skies to cause it to rain and change our weather patterns. Could that be poisoning our vegetables? Is that why my vegetables die out before I'm able to have a decent produce of food? I'm going to continue to keep on growing my vegetables. But have you looked at your canned foods lately? Does it say bioengineered on the label? If it does, you're being poisoned. Those bioengineered chemicals are some chemicals that are in your weed killing sprays like Roundup and other weed killing sprays. Check out the ingredients on those weed killers and then look at some of the ingredients in your food. Guess what? Some are the same chemicals. They're killing us off slowly. We get sick or we get ill, we're not feeling well, so we go to our doctor. We see our doctor. What does our doctor do? He gives us a pill. He gives us some kind of prescription. Why does he give us a prescription? Well, he gives us a prescription to mask the original issue. Plus, he gets a kickback from the pharmaceutical companies for prescribing those pills to you. But in the long run, these foods are killing you. There's been a huge increase in cancer from children up to adults in the last couple of years. Some are claiming it's that bang in the arm. Me, myself, I'm still a pure blood. I will never get that. I would refuse to get that. I would not take that in any way, shape, or form. But also, please be aware this fall, when the flu shots come out, make sure it does not have a concoction in it that had that bang in the arm. Because they're talking about combining it with the flu shot. I will not be getting any poke in the arm for anything anymore unless I do my research. The only thing I ever got was my 4-strain flu shot and a pneumonia shot. Other than that, I never got any other shots for anything. I refuse. I do not trust our government. I'll put it that way. Another thing you should be aware of is the microplastics in your bottled water. That stuff can plug up your kidneys and intestinal systems. It can cause internal problems. People say, "Oh, I drink bottled water all the time. You got to hydrate." Well, you know what? The microplastics in that water that you're buying is plugging up your body. It's causing more issues. Your body doesn't digest that plastic. And sometimes it has no place to go because your body can't flush it out of your system. Just a little heads up on that. I do have a what they call zero water purifying system. So any water I am drinking and cooking with is with my zero water filter, which is one of the only water filters that you can put contaminated, even nuclear radiated water through, and it will come out pure, clean water and not radiated water. The only other filterized water that will do that would be a osmosis system. Just to let you know, because a Berkey won't do that. Okay, let's see here. My next thing. What would you rather have? Meat butchered from a cow and a chicken, or lab grown chicken meat and beef? Me, myself, I will stay with a natural born cow or chicken or pork. I will have nothing to do with anything lab grown. My reason being is that meat does not have the nutritional vitamins and minerals in it as natural grown cattle, chicken, or pork. pig. How can you go ahead and grow chicken meat or cattle meat or pork for that matter in a lab and have the same nutritional value as a living animal? You can't. There's no way. I don't want something fake. I want real. Also, watch your potato chips and all your chips, all your chip snacks. Your Doritos and your Lay's potato chips and all these other different uh, snacks you're purchasing. There are chemicals they're putting on, and if it does say on that snack bag container that it's either bioengineered or if you have an allergic reaction to certain things that it will state on that label, do not buy it. It's got cricket parts in it. Now, a lot of people say, oh, I'll eat a cricket, this, that. Okay, but do you realize that cricket parts, if you consume it, your body does not digest it and it sticks to your internal intestines and other organs in your body. Your body does not digest that. And what does that do? Well, that cricket is a cancer causing insect. So I don't see cancer. It's the same as the foods and the cereals you're buying are bioengineered, having these chemicals that are poisoning you to a slow death. Thanks to the Food and Drug Administration, right? Yeah, they're doing us real good. They're killing us without you even realizing it. Okay, next thing I want to get into. Now, I have talked about the bird flu. It seems funny that the bird flu has gotten into every bird and animal here on the planet, and now there are a few people that have contracted this bird flu. Now, these people that have contracted the bird flu, of course, worked on farms and with chickens and things of that nature, so that's understandable. The other thing you have to consider is they're saying that even cows are getting bird flu and, your deer and poultry, everything. Everything and anything is getting bird flu today. Are you going to get that bang in the arm for the vaccine for that? I'm not. And they're also working on a concoction to include the other C19 to be included in that bird flu vaccination. Okay, so yeah, let's see here. I covered the microplastics in water. I've covered the poisoning of our food. My next thing I want to get into is um, cyber attacks. A lot of companies in the United States have been hit with many, many cyber attacks. Now, I want to let you all know that on these cyber attacks, there are remedies to a lot of these. We have power stations that are being hit with cyber attacks, water filtration plants that are getting hit with these cyber attacks, your cell phone companies getting hit with attacks, banks getting hit with cyber attacks. Everybody's getting hit with cyber attacks. Well, I have a remedy for a couple of them. These water systems, why are they even connected to the internet? You only need one main computer in your main office to have connected to the internet to go to other water stations, right? You only need one computer for that. To run your system, use a different computer that's not even set up and plugged into the internet at all, which would eliminate the cyber attack on your grid. It would also prevent these water filtration plants that are supplying you your so called fresh water from being manipulated to poison you. If they weren't hooked to the internet, there would be no cyber attacks on your water systems. We have VPNs on our computers, but apparently these big companies don't have people that have the brains to be able to run these companies without being hit with cyber attacks. Why, I do not understand. If there is a will, there is a way. That's like me stocking up on having over a year's worth of food and water. It's better to have and not need than to need and not have. That's also why I have my own solar system setup that runs over half of my place right now. Because if the power grid goes down, guess what? I still have power. Do you have things like a Coleman gas stove? And I'm not talking a propane tank that goes into your Coleman stove. Those camp stoves that run on propane, they're fine until guess what? You run out of propane, and then that ain't worth shit for you, is it? I have propane. Nah, no, I take that back. I have propane tanks to run my propane stove in my RV, but I also have Coleman stove that runs on white gas, and it also runs on unleaded gas. So I can run that Coleman stove and still cook my food on that and not have an issue because I have. And I'll tell you what, if you have just 1 gallon of white gas for that Coleman stove, it will last you, 1 gallon will last you a year, if not longer. I've never had an issue with a white gas Coleman stove. Now, you have to think about how your foods are being poisoned by our government. They're trying to kill us off one way or another, including letting all these illegal immigrants in this country. All freshly cut haircuts, all military age, bringing weapons and drugs into our country. Is it our Democratic administration that is all they have to do is say the word go and these people will be attacking us? They're getting a good start now with this conviction of Donald Trump. I'll tell you that. What's next on my agenda? Okay, if you have your own mag or you know someone who's teaching military tactics for, say, military operation, your own militia, so to speak, I got to tell you, this is a warning because I found this out through Black Scout Survival on YouTube that these men, they're illegal immigrants. They do speak English. Some are Asian, some are Jordanian, some are Palestinians, and so on. They ask to train with you on these military tactical exercises. Refuse to teach these people any military tactical strategies. What these people are doing is they're learning our military strategies and taking our training courses and then going back to their countries and teaching their military the way that we are doing our military strategic situations. So I would suggest not to train these people. Be very, very aware of who you are training, whether it be with your MAG or running training courses for any kind of military tactical situations. Because these people are spies and they're providing this information to their own country's military. Let's see here. Lately, we have had the Biden administration say that he wants a one party state. Like I have said, he has stated, and he was at the World Economic Forum gathering in Davos a little over a year ago, where he stated that he wanted to be one of the leaders of the World Economic Forum and did believe in a one world government. This is another reason why he is trying to rig our elections once again and trying to get Trump out of the picture so that he can be a dictator here in the United States, like other dictators in other countries, such as Putin and Xi Jinping and Kim Jong Un, and you can go on to all these other ones. Biden thinks he's Joe Stalin. You know what I'm getting at. This Democratic administration has already pushed hard, as we have seen also with the Donald Trump court hearing, where they took his right of freedom of speech away. They gave him a gag order. All these social media platforms, what are they doing? We have no freedom of speech. So they're trying to control that. What's the other thing that Biden is trying to do? He is trying to disarm the American citizens. This is a constitutional and amendment right, which is a God given right. It even states in the amendment rights that our Second Amendment shall not be infringed. But boy, I'll tell you what, they're doing their damnedest to go ahead and go against that shall not be infringed. Either that or they're just so stupid they don't know what infringed means, or shall not, for that matter. We're losing our rights right before us, people. Time that maybe you should wake up, especially since they just convicted Donald Trump. I would suggest that you vote for Donald Trump on November 5th, or we will no longer be a republic. Biden talks about democracy all the time. There is no democracy in the United States. A democracy allows each individual in this country to vote for whoever they want, not what's on a ballot, but for whoever they want to vote for. Our government is controlling who we can vote for. A democracy is the freedom of each and every individual. That's why we have our constitutional and our amendment rights that were written for we the people and our government to follow. Our government works for us, not we working for our government. As you all can see, we are now facing the government that is controlling us instead of us controlling the government. They're trying to tell you what you can and cannot do. I'm sorry, but I'm not ruled by anyone. They work for us. And if they don't start acting like that instead of getting these big payouts by these big elites, then guess what? It's time to get them out of office. Is it time to overthrow this corrupt, tyrannical government yet? Just 8 years ago, for instance. No, I'll go back even further than that. 10 years ago, you could purchase a home, a nice 2-bedroom home with a 2-car garage for anywhere between $40 and $70,000. What is it now? $200,000 to $300,000 to purchase a home. The American dream is dead right now. Under Trump, it was affordable. I thought the American dream was coming back. Gas was back down to a decent like it was. I remember when I was like 13, 14 years old when gas stations were having gas wars at 9 and 10 cents a gallon. When I first started driving a car on the road when I was 16 years old, I paid 24 cents a gallon for gas. Now gas prices in some areas are already 450 450 to over $7 a gallon right now here in the United States. And 4 years ago, you were paying $1.86. Some even $1.75 a gallon. It goes to show that this Democratic administration, all they're doing is lining their pockets. They closed down all our oil wells. They're stopping our coal production. They're bankrupting the American people, raising everything so sky high you can't afford to live. So what happens? Well, you're losing your mortgage on your house because you can't afford your mortgage anymore. So then what do? Well, you either have to go and get an apartment, which is $1,200 to $2,000 a month or better, which is probably 4 times more than what your house mortgage was. Or you're living in a van or a car or out on the streets, homeless. This Democratic administration caused all this. Don't believe what the Democratic administration is trying to tell you. Biden's trying to say, oh, it was 9% when he came into office. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was 1.2% when Joe Biden took office. The first month Joe Biden was in office, yeah, then it jumped up to 9%. Can you afford to live anymore? You have people that are working 2 full-time jobs just to pay bills. I know people that are working 1 full-time job and 2 days out of their 5-day work week is going for paying for their gasoline to go back and forth to work. They don't have enough to cover their bills every month. So what are these people working 1 8-hour full-time job doing? Some of them are getting a second 8-hour job, or they're working a part-time job plus the 8-hour regular full-time job just to get by. I would suggest that you have your freedom sticks and freedom seeds on you at all times from this day forward. The Democratic administration just opened up a can of worms. Chaos is about to begin. If it hasn't started already this evening throughout this country because of this conviction of Donald Trump. Yeah, they are going to appeal this. And yes, it probably will be appealed and he will be acquitted. But a lot this next 6 months. And I believe it's only going to get worse before it gets better. They're already predicting gas prices are going to be going up, food prices are going to be going up, and there are already shortages all around our country with the drugs and food around our country. This is being done on purpose so that we are forced to eat this veggie burgers and bug meat and lab grown meat that is not healthy for you. It's time to wake up, people. Do you want your freedoms that we once had? Or do you want to live under a communist socialist law or be put under military restrictions? Martial law could go into effect. They could start saying how much gas you can use every other week, like what happened under the Jimmy Carter days. They could restrict you on how much you buy in a store as far as food. Be prepared because a lot can happen within the next 6 months. If we do not get Donald Trump in as our next president, this country is going to be worse than Venezuela. It's going to be worse than China, North Korea, or the Soviet Union. This is turning into a banana republic. What else do I have here? Well, I'm going to say once again, strap up, arm up. If you don't have any freedom sticks and you can get them, I advise you get them. Prices are high. Yes, I understand that. But it's better to have and not need than to need and not have. I'll say that again. Also, subscribe, like, and share my channel with your friends and relatives. I need to build up the algorithms on this channel. I hope you enjoyed the adult biker videos I have done on this channel. With over 4,000 people that have viewed these videos that I put up, I'm surprised I only got 123 subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel, people, so I can put up more biker videos and content that you might get a laugh out of and enjoy, as well as learn a little bit on items to stock up, how you should prepare because America is in distress right now. Once again, please subscribe so I can build the algorithms up. Leave a comment if you'd like. That also helps the algorithms. I want you all to have your freedom. I fought for this country. I never in my lifetime ever thought this country would be what it is today. I thought I would be dead and gone before anything like this would ever happen. Take it from someone who's been there. You don't want war in America. You don't want terrorism in this country. I have seen the blood, the guts, and the gore. You do not want to have any part of that. You are going to lose loved ones, family, friends. adhere to what I'm telling you. Get your freedom sticks. Get your freedom seeds. Be ready. Keep your head on a swivel at all times. Always be aware of your surroundings. Once again, if we do not get Donald Trump in as president, this will not be America. It will be Amerizuela. This country will be ruled by a dictatorship instead of a president. The Democratic administration will tell you anything and everything and blame it on Republicans and on Trump. But they're the ones that are doing all the corruption. All this tyrannical stuff that's going on, all this corruption, all caused by this Democratic administration. Wake up, people. Stay strapped. Stay frosty. Watch people like Black Scout Survival, Pinball Preparedness, Doug and Stacy Off Grid, Prepper Nurse One, Gray Man, Angry Prepper, Angry Truth, Alaska Prepper, Riverside Homestead. I think it's Riverside Homestead Lifestyles. He's got a lot of videos that'll wake you up on things that are going on. There's a lot of others out there. I'll have to get my list out, which I'll put out here for you people to check out. Be aware of what's going on. We're in dangerous times right now, everyone. On that note, I'm going to say take care. This is Tony D. I'm signing off. I'll have more videos coming up. I'm going to try and put one out at least once a week. Stay strong. Be safe. Take care. This is Tony D. with Nomad Prepper 2. Out for now. Good night, all.